Hi guys, it's RBB. I am a big believer in things happen the way it's supposed to and, paying attention to signs from the universe and things like that. And so pretty sure I'm not supposed to post this video because it has given me nothing but grief for like 4 days. I recorded this in real time and it was great. And then after I was done, I realized that I had paused the camera partway through and messed that up. So then I redid it because I like doing everything in one take. And I had messed up something else, I forgot. And then I did it a third time and it took about an hour. And then I realized I didn't record any sound. So then I said, okay, forget it. I've got this great video. I'll just do a voiceover. And my editing software crashed. And I was like, okay, fine. So then I did it again. And needless to say, I've done this video and this voiceover 10 times, maybe? I don't know. But the universe is like, do not post this video. But I'm doing it anyway, because you're not the boss of me. So if something terrible happens, like the aliens finally show themselves, or if you don't win the lottery this week, it's probably my fault, and I apologize. But with that, going forward, it is cool, and I would like to show you. So I'm going to talk over what I did in this video and just talk you through it, okay? It involves some AI, so maybe it was like some computer thing. I don't know. This is what we're going to do. Okay, so I'm going to play the video, and I'm just going to talk over and show you what I did. So, okay, here goes. So what I wanted to do was to work on this pretty cool video, this picture of an alley. And I wanted to use a bunch of different techniques, including some AI replacement and things like that. And I really like kind of post-apocalyptic stuff, even though I think zombies and stuff are really dumb. I think that this type of picture is really fun to work on and color correct. So that's what I wanted to do with real time and use all our tools. So I think what I'm flapping my arms about there is saying that, as I've done in some other recent videos, showing you, making sure that I put a mask on the windows, because all of these windows being clean and whole are not going to look very like post-apocalyptic. So I was probably showing you how I can select them, make that mask, which is what that green flash was, and use it as a selection mask. I also looked around the image to make sure there wasn't anything weird I needed to remove, like a secret Mickey Mouse or something. And I was pretty grossed out by the mattress in the alley. So even if it's like a zombie apocalypse, that's just gross. So looked at a couple different ways to replace it, one of which would be using our fill, and content-aware fill, that's the word. And so I tried that, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, especially in the 97 times I redid this. This one, it does work pretty well. It makes the line a little goofy, but that's okay. The alley is supposed to be jacked up, so that's all right. But what I did then was I selected a little section and I used the AI generative fill and said, put in some construction debris. Now, when you do the generative fill, it filled in like some boxes, but you can see over on the right-hand side in properties, it gives me 3 other options. So I did it again over here on the left-hand side, and construction debris could be anything. It could be bricks or glass or this white box that looks like a duck. If you don't like it, just do it again and again and again until you get what you want. So that was okay. That was fine. I was just sort of showing how generative fill fills in pretty nicely right there. So when I was watching back over this, I was like, why am I sitting here so long? Maybe I was going on a rant about why zombies are not scary. But I think what I was talking about is when you're going to do a picture like this, one of the things I highly recommend is pre-visualization. Decide what you want to do and go out and collect those images. If you want creepy sky, go find creepy sky. If I'm going to replace the windows with broken windows, go find them. Go get all those images so that when you're ready to work, you don't have to stop your creative process to go find those images. And it could take a little while, especially if you're, ethically curating your images. So I literally make a shopping list, and I hate when people say literally, but I mean literally make a list of things I want to go shop for online, such as a stormy sky. And I found all these sort of creepy windows. Now, remember that these photos are all someone else's artwork, and if I get them somewhere like Pexels or copyright free, that's fine. But otherwise, like that picture of the rusty barrels was on, I think, Facebook Marketplace, because, rusty barrels are a hot commodity. You want to make sure that you are using parts as sort of like reference images and not a person's whole work. So I copy, one of the things I know I did ahead of time was I made sure also before I started that all of my reference images were roughly the right size. If this image is say 2 or 3K, my main image, I wanted to make sure that my source images where I was grabbing all my bits and parts were also 1 or 2K so that they weren't gigantic or really small, which would really throw off generally the size of my project. So all I did was I picked the pieces that I liked, copied, Command or Control C, pasted them here. And because this is supposed to be all jacked up and messed up, they look pretty good. When you're resizing things, you of course can hold Control T and resize things, and it'll stay in aspect ratio. If you hold Shift while you're resizing, like that's just resizing, grab the corner and move it. If I hold Shift and resize it, then I can squish it, make it thinner or taller. What I'm doing there with the corners is I went over to Edit, to Transform, and chose Distort, where I could actually pick the little corners and pin them into place. So I just made it bigger and then went to Distort, grabbed the pins, and then just sort of pinned it into place. So all those broken windows are great, but I think I show you later on that you can even just draw and fake the broken windows if you want to. I brought up the navigator, which shows you your whole picture. So sometimes when you're zoomed in really close, it's nice to see the picture, like a little thumbnail of what's going on. So a lot of people work with the navigator. So that image was obviously really tiny, and I did not resize it, but I went ahead and grabbed the corners and stuff and put it into place. And I'm not terribly concerned with things matching because it's a messed up alley. But I lucked out kind of with all of the darkness. Now those windows that are still whole, if I didn't want to replace them, I just went in with the burn tool, which remember lowers the exposure. I hit Command and clicked in the thumbnail to select those windows, and then just went over them with the burn tool, which just darkens some. And if I make it smaller and more opaque, I can make some streaks. And I think I even make like a little handprint on one of the windows because I was like, oh, that'd be kind of cool. So you could make like a bloody handprint on the window or something silly. Just some little Easter egg. Like hopefully your thing is interesting enough that people won't even see that, but it's there. So that was a great use of having the mask ahead of time, was being able to go ahead and reselect those windows quickly. So now I made another layer, and I think I called it cracked window, and then I just painted on it. I just painted a broken window just with black. Just made it, just a cracked window. And if you want to see in the window, you don't want it to look like there's spray paint on the window. So you could change the blending mode, which I think I played with a couple of them and then just left it on normal anyway. But if you could see inside the window, you would definitely want to change the blending mode. So this great 1-hour tutorial thing was using a lot of different techniques. So I broke a couple windows. That's always fun. Okay. And I went ahead and I found this biohazard sign because I wanted it to look like, something had happened and all the people are gone, like A Quiet Place the Next Day, that type of thing. So in pasting this one in here, I definitely went to Transform and Distort so I could like pin it into place. So I just looked at the wall behind it, pinned it into place. It's a little too new and clean looking, so you could paint on it. I think I just tried some different blending modes and to see which one works. You could put the blending mode. You could put the biohazard sign all over the place. I could put it on those weird canisters that are below it, which are actually in the real photo. I think they might be like weird kegs or soda things. I'm not sure. So you could pin it different places. I think what I wanted to show you here was I went to warp, and how warp works differently. It's a transform, but instead of just moving the corners, the whole thing is like a piece of rubber. So I think I'm going to grab it in a second and wave it around. See, woo, woo, woo. It's like it's rubber. And it's a really great way to make something look like it's on a curved surface, like a tower or a pole or something like that. So that was just another quick example there. And let's see, what are we doing now? Oh, I think I went for another AI. I was going to put in some of those 50-gallon drums. And it turns out if you put biohazardous waste, AI doesn't like it. They're like, that's not nice. That's not a nice thing to look for. Because I wanted to put a puddle on the ground, and I think I put like radioactive goo, and it was like, you're not allowed to look for gross things like that. So I didn't. These barrels, I selected them with the object selection. And because I'm cutting and pasting them rather than AI making them, when I do paste them into place, they look fine there. And their even coloring is still okay. But where AI puts things in, it fixes the shadow underneath. And my cutting and pasting doesn't. So I went back to my burn tool and made sure I was on the actual background layer, which is a bit destructive, and burned underneath where the barrels were so that there was a contact shadow, so that they look like they were touching the ground. So you could do this all day long, and I think by now it's probably 20, 30 more minutes, into this. You could replace all the windows. You could have, papers flying around. You could have dead guys laying, whatever you want. So I think what I wanted to do is, I was talking about making your own workspace. So I had that properties panel open and it was taking up a lot of space. So I was just I interrupted myself, which I do a lot, to show you that you can pull off any menus that you don't want and rearrange your entire workspace. And in that little microwave looking thing in the top right hand corner, you can save your custom workspace. So like I have one for matte painting and one for digital painting and one for, motion media and things like that. So you can have different workspaces. It just saves you from having to rearrange it every time you open. So I'm replacing the sky, and I used, I think, object selection, which quickly grabbed the sky, pasted it in place, put it actually behind the background layer there, and then fought with Photoshop for a minute to let me grab the layer that I wanted, and moved the sky up into place. Now, because it's a big picture, I could move it around. This was all rather fortuitous as far as doing the picture, because the sky and the windows actually matched. Unlike that one we did with the colorful city, I didn't have to change colors. So what I'm doing here with the curves, now I'm doing some color correction and color grading. I did the curves look, which I like a lot. And that is where you crush the blacks and crush the whites, so you have less range and it makes it more contrasty. So I threw a solid green layer on top as an adjustment layer and changed the blending mode to make the whole thing kind of green and creeptastic here. So you could put layers of colors over it. I thought that it would be neat if the building you could see right there where I'm sort of flapping my arms around was not as green as the alley we're in. So I just used my polygonal lasso and selected that end of the alley there, kind of roughly selected that. And then because I wanted that separate and not to be affected by the green I just overlaid. So in the alpha channel, I painted that black, with a fairly low opacity, and sort of pulled that green back so it was not influencing it as much. In the old days, they used to just put colored cards in front of the camera. Like if you remember the old 1980s movie Night of the Comet that just had this red picture in front of the camera. Like every time they're outside, it's like, don't forget it's scary, because there was a red glow. We don't have to do that anymore. So I did throw this red on there and went through the blending modes. None of it really looked good because the blacks were wrong. I want to make sure that the blacks, like the white balance and the black balance, match in my picture. So I think I either gave up or turned one way down. So it looks like I picked one, maybe color dodge or something, and turned the value down. So you could play with this all day long, and change colors on things, put a mist down at the bottom, set some things on fire, make some smoke damage, add in concertina wire, whatever you want. Really, you could play with this all day long. So that was really what I was trying to show you guys, is like, hey, let's take this cool thing, this cool picture, and do something neat to it and transform it. And it was just doomed. So I'm hoping that when I actually get this posted that nothing terrible happens. Maybe something good will happen. Maybe it's just bad luck for me. Maybe you will win the lottery. If that's the case, please let me know in the comments, and I will send you my Venmo and you can share that with me. So, all right, you guys, Be well. Let me know what else I can do for you. Subscribe, all that good stuff, and later.